tonight, getting inducted into the Ring of Honor. Got to be a nice feeling for him, but give us some memories that you have.
I think it's a fabulous honor for him and so well deserved. Steve, he's a guy that obviously was there from day one. He was a wonderful assessor of talent, and he battled through some difficult things in the early season, especially when you're an expansion team. And to think that 5 years later we were at Moncton for the Memorial Cup, and the year after that, in 2007, we won the Memorial Cup. So for Scott to do what he did in those early years and have to make a couple of the trades to get his team respectable in a hurry, and then to, like I say, get to Moncton in 06 and win the Memorial Cup in 07 is fantastic. When you take a look at the names that are up there, Lucic and Evander Kane and Lance Boma, Craig Cunningham and Brendan Gallagher, and nobody deserves to be up there more from a management standpoint than Scott Bonner.
Scott, what was it about coming over to Vancouver from Tri-Cities that enticed you to come here?
Ron. It was basically Ron had hired me when I was just turned 20, and he says he had this vision, and he said, listen, sooner or later I'm going to have a team in Vancouver. By the time that comes around, you'll be more mature, you'll be experienced, and if you know Ron, if he wants something, he's pretty convincing, and he did a real good job of convincing my wife and myself to move out here, like I said, when we had 2 newborns.
Did you have any long-term goals when you came here? Did you say, okay, we're going to make a successful team in 3 years or 5 years or anything in long-term?
Actually, my goal was just, we wanted to win a Memorial Cup. We had just watched, I grew up in Edmonton. I had seen Edmonton had just moved to Cranbrook. They sort of had a plan that worked to win a Memorial Cup, and it took roughly 5 or 6 years. And we sort of took that recipe that they used to go to the top. We sold the players that wanted to go to better teams in the expansion year, and we just built through the draft. And Jason Ripplinger, my father, we're big believers in the draft, and the draft is what got us there.
Last time I had a chance to talk to Craig Cunningham, he was the one that said you basically convinced his mother to allow him to come here.
Yeah, I remember meeting Heather. We were in Trail, and I met her at the rink. She had a tragedy with her husband, so we went there, and she was really shaky. And I just said to her, listen, you're in good hands. We'll do a good job with your son. I don't want this to be pressure. This is supposed to be an exciting, fun time, not a stressful time. So take your time. If you have questions, let me know, and we'll be patient because we want your boy. He's a good player, and he's a better person.
Got a strong coach on board with Don Hay as well, helping you out. And of course, Don, his days date back to Kamloops.
Yeah, Don, and I worked with Don in Kamloops. I worked with Don in Tri-Cities with Ron, and then I worked with Don here. I like the way he coaches. I like what he does with individuals. I think he makes better people out of them, and he gives them habits that obviously correlate to pro hockey.
What does this mean to your family?
Oh, it's huge. I think I moved out here first with my daughters. The next year, I convinced my brother to move out here. A year later, my parents moved out here. So we were Edmonton from the start, but we all came here. The Memorial Cup victory and the WHL Cup, we were all involved in it. So it's pretty unique when you can win those events with the whole family involved.
You talk about the Memorial Cup. That must have been extra special for you as well.
Yeah, it was stressful and special. Winning it, well, because you want to win it so bad, because Ron was really good to all of us. Obviously, Ron's a Vancouver guy. His family was all there. Every relative and buddy that he grew up was at that event. So when we could close the deal for him, it was a lot better than Moncton the year before.
What was it like getting the Memorial Cup out here in Vancouver?
It was great. I thought that Dale Sipe, Stu Ballantyne, Callie Quinn, they did a really good job of making sure that it was a whole event. And I haven't been to one as good since.
We talk about different individuals that have helped you out. There's been so many great ones. You'd mentioned Pat Quinn as well. I'd said earlier on that I saw Dixon Long upstairs. And Dixon's sort of been, I guess, the face of the organization going back years back as a young reporter.
Yeah, the guys that helped a lot were Jason Ripplinger. He was our head scout. He was my head scout the whole time. He did a really good job at the draft. My father was his right-hand man. The draft was paramount for us. Guy Bob Brown was my mentor. When I was a young guy, Bob Brown was really influential on me. Bob McCammon, ex-Canucks coach, he hired me when I was 20. That was the first GM that Ron had. And he just taught us how to stand up for ourselves. So every person I've worked with has taught me something. And as long as you listen, you're in good shape.
You obviously owe this recognition tonight to your mom and dad.
Yeah, they've grounded us. And we were a sports household since we were kids. We were competitive, and they made us believe in hard work, and it takes hard work to get to this level, and it takes hard work to become a manager at this level.
What advice would you give anybody that would like to strive and, I guess, sort of fulfill and take over from your shoes?
Work hard and start scouting ASAP.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Congratulations once again.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Ron, congratulations on the induction for Mr. Bonner. That was really nice tonight for Scott.
Yeah, it was. It's long overdue. I mean, he's the architect of this franchise from the start, and put a plan together from the beginning. And our goal was to challenge for the Memorial Cup in 5 years when we started, and to win it in the 5th year was, something you can only dream of. But he did a hell of a job, and we miss him a lot. But he left his footprint here, and we've carried on since then.
Other than winning the Memorial Cup championship, is there one key thing that stands out in your mind?
I think just the evolution of the players, and and the friendships you built through the years with all of the players, and now a lot of them come back every year for our alumni tournament. Guys that move on to the NHL and they still stay in touch with us, and the alumni was a really important component of what Scott Bonner wanted to build, and make sure that once you're a giant for life, and guys like Evander Kane here carrying on it, and look at Gallagher and follows in Montreal. He still follows the Giants, and when the playoffs run last year, a lot of them came back to be part of the run, and I guess a lot of what Scott instilled when he started the franchise.
Well, they're happy out there anyway, and so they should be.